existence or life after the loss of the body. Is there really a life after this one? Is there really a conscience, or is it all religions and dogmas misconception? Will this ever end? I mean, will it ever end? Is it temporarily, or is it permanent, eternal? All these we will see after we leave this body. Everybody has a hypothesis, and everybody has their own truth about life after death. To me, this is a program. We all carry a program, which is a kind of bubble, kind of sack that we carry after we will discard this body. We carry all our baggage in this sack. It's a program. It's a kind of feeble atoms, which some call astral world or astral body, or some would call the ethereal body, or the subtle and light body. Yes, we're gonna see ourselves as a replica, as a copy of what we are now. But there is a time span for it. There's a time period, a shelf life. It won't be like this forever. And later I'll go there and explain why. I was asked today, do you believe in afterlife? Gave me pause. My mind erased because of the conedrum presented. Because nobody's certain, nobody's sure 100% what is the other side. What we can see is just fragments. It's just 1/8 of what really is in there. What pervades all that. What composes all that. So what we see is just a tiny drop in the vast cosmologic ocean of reality and truth. Such a question implies that one is alive right now, and to attempt to convince someone that they are currently in a dreaming state and their life has not truly begun is visually impossible. I don't agree, I'm sorry for this statement, simply because the other side too can be a dream. It's not, the other side too is not real. And why? Because we are working with a mind, we are creating with a mind. I think I explained this in other videos back in 2018. Just everything created as you see it, and this reality is not just this one, but much more others that is not seen to our naked eyes. Our hologram is all a program, a visual program. We carry what look like a bubble, you see? Everything is a bubble, and we carry that after that. Whenever it is, the bigger it is, the more it takes to burst and to dissipate, and the slower we can still live in this reality in the other side. However, this is all a product, maybe a product of imagination, because you are creating with your mind. You are not really living it. You just like watch yourself there, but you are not really there. You are just watching yourself there, being something, doing something, becoming something. You see, but it's not you. It's something else and someone else pretend to be you, or is a part of you which is not really you. It's very complex, and you need to understand how it all has been fabricated and created before you come to terms with it, with this knowledge. Okay, it's just like watching you becoming a monster. Later I will reach there, because they will manipulate your mind psychologically wise and psychically wise after you die, so as to harass you, because they are bullies, and these beings are not very smart. They don't have ethics, and they will love to harass you and put your mind that you are certain things. And as I said in the other videos, as I explained, that realizations and things in the other side materializes faster than in here. Means that as you think, so you become. While in here it would take years to make it real, to materialize your wishes. And the other side may be instantaneous, in a fractions of nanoseconds. Just these beings will put in your mind that you are a monster, and they will psychically manipulate you into thinking that you are a monster, and as you think so, you will become, even if it's temporary. Okay, so in the other side you may become anything from amphibious to an alien, a monster, any spectral. You know the spectral that we see. I'll give this as an example. Can you become one of these creatures after death? Or is it something else the other side and claim to be you? Might be. Both possibilities is true. However, based on my experiences, I have had as I said, I have been to the bottom of the earth to visit a brother who had died 10 years earlier. In 73, and in 83 I went to visit him, and I saw a lot of creatures around the jail cell where he was found, and he was just like I saw him here, only that he was younger. He died at the age 21, but he was thinner, and he was a muscular, very muscular guy. He died at the age 21 years old. When I was 8 years old, I was a little girl. When he passed, he was murdered. So, I saw him very thin. It was not that muscular, big guy. He was very feeble and thin, and he was not any of these creatures here. I don't know, maybe I just come in the beginning before he turns himself into a monster, but I never saw him as a monster, never. In the 10 years that he accompanies my growing journey, and I've seen him many times, because me and my sisters had this gift of seeing things. So did my mom. I never for once saw him as a monster. However, I have seen a sister who died in 2019, and yes, she came as a partly feline, and later she came to me, visit me as a doll. And this year she came with a amphibious being. I have a video there showing amphibious man, so like a frog, something like that. She came with him. Okay, she came with him, amphibious man. Something like, no, he was not. He had a human face, but his body, his toe and his leg, his feet look like some kind of amphibious, but he was a humanoid being. He accompanied her. So this time around she was human again. Before that she came as a doll. A doll. So in the afterlife you can become as you think. Okay, whatever you imagine yourself to be, you will become, because there is a perverse, I would just say a corrupt and perverse law in that place, governed by a lot of negative entities. And they somehow put it to your mind, because they don't want direct to be involved, they will place into your mind that you are these monsters. So in each level of the other side, there are different kind of beings based in what they see as your offenses. Okay, but you don't have to take it very seriously, because that one is something like your oversoul. It's not quite you. It's a part of you, an avatar, a layer of you. It's not quite you yourself. It may be a monster. Okay, I saw my sister my mom passed away in 2008. I saw her just like she was a human. I saw my other sister who passed away last year. She was also human. I saw her husband who was with her. They both were divorced, and I saw them fighting in the other side, quarreling again. She was really angry with him. However, they were humans, still being humans. I never saw them as a monster. Her husband, who passed away in 2000, I guess, I'm not sure, but it was a long time ago. No, it was in, I think, 1999, 2000 he passed away, and she died in 2021, last year. They met together. I saw them fighting. And my brother also passed away. I saw my brother just once, his presence here, but I never ever saw him. I don't know what became of him really. So there's not a dream state. Here is not quite a dream state, but the side can be a dreaming state. You wake up and then you see that you are in nightmare again. But you don't have to dwell in that, because you are creating with your mind. Okay, because you are still imprisoned within that hologram, which is your mind. You are creating through your mind. Once you understand that you are not your mind, maybe you will be free. To me, I believe that you have to produce another death to escape from that kind of experiences. Just, I don't believe that you're gonna become a monster. You may become a monster. No, maybe they will give you this kind of how to say, it's a kind of illusion, kind of It's just a kind of unreal thoughts, kind of mirage, which is not there. It's an illusion. Okay? Don't take it very seriously. Once you see your body transform into a monster, you don't have to take it too seriously. Or maybe it was a part of you, a part of your oversoul. Who knows what our oversoul is comprised of? My core believes that the true me is being fashioned, that every avatar I become lives out a lifetime of experiences that are holographically imprinted upon the fabric of my spirit. You don't have to. First of all, you need to discard all these layers and layers and layers of oversouls. Why you need to do that? Because in order to ascend, you have to do that, so that you will not go on and on in this wheel of samsara, coming back, return, coming back, return, going back again, return and come back. Okay, even if through incarnation and not reincarnation. You maybe you reincarnation when you still have layers of past ancestrality with you. You need to discard all this. Once you discard, you'll be able to come back to return as a zero form, and then experience yourself anew. Create a fresh experience for yourself. I truly believe that you don't have to be your past selves or your ancestral, much less live up your ancestrals. Okay, you are you. I believe in individuality. You don't have to come back as a part of your ancestral. The problem is that you take the nadi size as a factory where they mix up everything. They take pieces of this being and piece of another beings, and then they mix up together to form another being. Then they throw in bubbles of creations to live up and experience, so as for them to study. We are part of an oversoul, a larger soul which comprises the originality, and this part of a soul is already a breakdown of another many others avatars of the soul that has been divided into many cells. That's ancestrality, that's biology, you see. So we belong to a family lineage, and that's why we have these layers of imprints, which we call blueprint or imprints in ourselves. Just like a tapestry, we are part of this minus minutious and very well architected fabric of existence, and we will never be able to pinpoint where have our ancestral started. It's very hard to find out. Just like our fabric work, we carry the tiny nanoparticles of our ancestrals. Okay, that's why we have that's why they say the sin of the ancestrals, or the sin of the parents the father visited open his children, because it means that we all carry this blueprint, these layers of hologram and atoms that belong to someone else, and you need to totally discard all this. through lifetimes of the experiences. Just when it's your last experiences, you can finally rest in peace. Okay, rest in peace and existence to where you come from, the minor cell or nanoparticle of atoms. We are just a tiny point, very tiny, nanos of nanoseconds of particles that belong to a much larger one. Okay, and once we get out of the cytoplasm of this huge cell, then we can finally say that we are free. We need to remove all the other particles and molecules in order to say, yes, finally I'm free. Do you understand? I'm trying to simplify what I'm trying to describe here. I'm describing, in fact. Every life-death cycle includes in accretion of knowledge and experience, but with a different perspective than the life before. Layers of awareness absorbed in the internal being that is becoming me. You never, you know who you are, because you are not here to ascertain, to define yourself, because it's something indefinable. You cannot define the unknown, you see, so you never can become. You can just imagining that you are becoming a personality, an avatar. However, that's not what you are perceived. That's just an avatar. That's just a imagery of what that large cell, large atoms is able to become. You see? So you cannot say that you're gonna try to define yourself. No, you cannot. You are just experiencing yourself by trying to find out what you are able to become, your possibilities. Every life there's a cruise and a creation of knowledge and experience, but a different perspective than the life before. Layers of awareness absorbed into the internal being that's becoming me. Each layer forgetful of the avatar before. Because you cannot remember that which is imagined to be. I mean, if I create something that is part of me, but at the same time, just like I say, okay, the excretion is part of you, it's come from your body, but it's not you. Okay, the blood comes out, oozes out of you. It's part of you, but it's not of you, not you. It's just a part of you. What you could say that you have. Your hair, it falls. It's a part of you, but it's not you. You understand? It's what you have now, but it's not what you are. Per se, per essence, per internal and absolute definition. Each layer forgetful of the avatar before. You have to, because there's no other way out. Because you cannot remember that what you are not, and you just have. You can have many things, you can own many things, but through lifetime you forget what you have ever owned. If you had many types of, let's say, t-shirt, let's say for 50 years, 60 years, since you are young, you forget what kind of t-shirt you have when you were young, isn't it? The same things as shoe. You cannot remember all those shoes you've ever had. If you can ever afford, unless you're a very poor person, then you can remember. Because you didn't had enough. And that's mean what? That you have just begun to come out of something much bigger than you to start to experience life and try to understand who you are. You understand? Who you can be, not what you are, but what you can be. So every journey begins in pure innocency, but every personality molded by conditions it finds itself in. At the end of this cycle, the reward is clear. What a reward? It doesn't have to be reward and punishment. When you talk about reward, you also talk about its opposite, the negative side, which is punishment. And if you really have to take it very seriously and they say that it must exist, then you are condoned and you are supporting negativity on the other side and punishment of those avatars or party of eyes, which is not quite the eyes, but it has been borrowed twice. You see, layers and layers of holographic templates preserving learning, generosity, growth, empathy, pursuit, intents, all accrued in various lifetimes, now all threaded together like a carpentry, like a tapestry, in an internal garment. The real me will wear. The real him that it, I will not say he or she, but it is what I'm talking about, a cell, large giant cell. Okay, it's a cell. And we are just the nanoparticles, very tiny particles of it. And once we go, you have to discard. It's very imperative that you discard these nanoparticles from you, because as long as you are attached to it, and then you identify yourself with the Mary voice, with the Johnny war, whatever else, you're gonna have to suffer. And suffer, I mean that you have to understand that you need to get rid of that, because on the other side, more than in here, it's not a place for it. Because it's just like, okay, you come here as a clown or whatever, an actor. We all came here to form a stage, whereas we become a part of a play. Okay, a systematic play. However, you are not the spread, you are not the actor. In reality, once you are out of this stage, you are not the actor anymore. You finish, you are yourself. You are only the actor once you are inside the stage. Do you follow? So when you go back, I mean, you finish, not say go back because you don't have nowhere to go. There's no such thing as somewhere to go to. Once you finish this play, you have to terminate your contract. Bye bye. You are no more that actor. You are no more the Karen, or you are no more the John or David that makes part of that play, that acting. Okay, you must forget that. And sufferings is when you still think that you are that person. You are that actor and actress, and you want to hold on to that bubble, and that you understand that, or at least you have to understand that you no more make part of that world stage. You are in another place, one place which you need to be alert. You need to wake up to understand that that is not a stage. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And well, our memories are erased. We come back as an innocent child unless you are very gifted enough to remember who you were, how was the process of the other life. You remember who you were and why you are here. Then, well, you will start to think differently and act differently. At the end of this cycle, the real world is clear. Layers and layers of holographic templates preserving learning, generosity, or the opposite of it. There's also the negative part of all this. Time now all thread together in internal garment, the real me will wear. The negatives are burned away. The negatives are burned away. Listen that. You must understand and try to break this into pieces to understand the meaning. Here, the internal garment, the real me will wear. The real me here would be an oversoul. What is oversoul? You would ask. It may be the beings that has invested here. Okay? And then they will bring in their lineage here. So each one of us may belong not just to earth but to these beings. So they will be oversoul. They are playing a stage. Okay, they are playing a stage. Play with avatar, play with templates, etc. Or it also could be it could be a kind of cell. The oversoul is a cell made of atoms, etc. So that's the real, you could say the real you. When you define your lineage. Because all this comes from the atoms and the quarks, every inventions. That's what you call gods. But the gods itself turned into avatar or matter that you call, or you concept in your mind, but you don't want to imagine, define it. Even if you don't define it, even if you don't want to imagine it, you just say God, God. But which God? Do you see it? No. So how are you sure it exists ever? How can you be sure? Only because you pray in something or somebody or something answers your prayer? Those can be, is beings that is formed from those atoms that you don't want to accept as the origin of everything there is. Those are beings that you don't see but exist in an invisible world from fourth dimension above. Alright? So this I will say is our oversoul, the capsule that forms anything and send out prayers to play here, parts of themselves. This up to now nobody told you. Okay, now I'm telling. Okay? I'm telling now. Up to you to accept it or not. I'm not here to force nobody. So internal garment, the real me will wear. Okay, because it's avatar. The negatives are burned away, and what remains is a personality who now remembers every life. Let's see. And then religions and dogmas had to create hell and create fear out of it, so as to pin people, avatars, into that hologram and that bubble of fake and false belief system. Do you follow? Juice. What will burn in hell really is the negative part of what you are not. What you are not, you will ask yourself, but what I am not? Simple. Your ego, your body, or in this case, the replica of your body, the copy of your body. Now, subtle, less dense. It has to be processed and recycled. And there are such things as second death. The second death occurs when you are totally expired and totally destroyed. Understand? Sometimes some parts of this body, this hologram, which we call the light body, it will be recycled and pieces of it will take, because they see it as something like maybe useful. When you recycle something, you take pieces of it because it's useful. You recycle tin, paper, plastic, etc. because you find some usefulness in it. You find there's something that you can use from it. It can be of use, right? Some sub-product. The same thing is with this body. This flimsy body, which called the avatar. Just this fire, it can be the purifier, because it refines who you really are. However, not everybody's going there. Don't worry, it's not going to be internal. Nothing really is. But will it last? Maybe it will last some time, but it's not going to be internal. Is it hot? I can't recall. Maybe I went there, but I don't quite remember. Okay, whether it's hot or not. However, what is good there is not quite you, but it's a part of your avatar, which is not you, the thing you are wearing, it's your body. It sounds like, okay, one example. They say you cannot wear anymore this garment. Remove it. Then you remove it and throw into the fire. So the music, to the fire, to the limit, to the wall, for a chance to be the real you. To the fire. Later we'll go there. There's people who have seen creatures like this, and there is all kind of creature. Why? Because in there is for those creatures from the abysm. When they invaded here, they were cast out. They invaded the earth and they were cast out and placed in the bottom of the earth. It's not necessary that we have to go there as a human, but the part of an avatar maybe will go there, will perish, okay, but they will take the part of you which is real you, the real you, the oversoul, will be free. Only the avatar, which is just used to perform in a stage, will have to be perished. And the people who are very attached to the body will suffer a lot. So every zone begins anew, everything that can't forget. Severed pupils and now returns into the flame of light. No wrong, no right. No beginnings in no end. Nothing, everything's not friends. Destiny is in our hands. And my soul, I surely stand inside the violet flame. Call my name. So every joint begins in pure innocence, but every personality molded by condition is self-spined. The negatives abandon away in what remains a personality who now remembers every life. Because if you don't want to wake up by good, you have to wake up this way. Then finally you are refined. Once you are refined, you will remember who you really are. Okay, so it's there where the dreams stops, the illusion stops, ends. Did and experience and enjoys the benefits of fulfillment of all things sought for in the dream state that are now a part of the divine reward. So finally you are freed and you go. The afterlife is the sum totality of what took me thousands of years to become, and I still are not defined. You have become, but you are not defined yet because you don't know next what you will become. Do you understand? Because as the atoms doesn't know what it will become next, so does everything that comprises these atoms also tries to find out what it will become next, what it will be. Hell cannot last forever, because for hell to last forever will be a never-ending story and a boring movie. A boring movie, a lousy script that becomes bored. It cannot last forever. It has to be amended. Its laws has to be amended, and something new in its place be created. Okay, so hell is also illusion. You go there just to refine and remove the part of you which is not you, and not wake up from the dream. Once you are refined, you will come out from there, and then you go up. You go up, you pass many layers of the third dimension, if you have to stay in the third dimension. So once you are freed, you come up here, and all that will not take what people say is eternity. It may be a matter of months, days, few years, or it's not even reach 1 year, 12 months. It's gonna be almost instantaneously, I mean. Then you're gonna become what? Multi-dimensional being. After you refine yourself, remove that capsule, that hologram that you carry. That's why the more way you carry, the worse for you. You must discard everything at the time of death, of leaving this body. And later on, you're gonna pass through all this system here. Pass through all this system step by step by step. Once you leave the earth plane, you will not be able to return to Earth and visit relatives with your consciousness, not as your avatar, but as a light, a consciousness. Okay, you leave Earth, you go step by step to the planets that you are located, that you will be allocated to. If you have to do time in Mars, Mercury, Venus, you will go. Then come Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune. I would not want to go to Pluto or Saturn. Maybe Jupiter or Uranus. And after you do time in all this system, you may return to and allocate the other system around the solar system. Not exactly or by definition Earth, not specifically Earth. However, maybe other planets you have to do time there, incarnate as a 40 density beings or 50 density or even 30 density, so on and so forth. Or you may even come to Earth as a fourth density. Yes, you are able to come to Earth as a fourth density, invisible one, a invisible consciousness. Okay, so that's what death is all about. It's not a monster of a Medusa or a monster of 7 head. Something simple that has been totally misunderstood on purpose, so as to create fears and a hologram for people to follow, a system of fears and a mental imprisonment. Later I'll tell why. I'm going to show other videos later on and explain why. Okay, people who are in dogmas, who are into religion, they will create a hologram which will be very hard to discard, and those are the ones who mostly suffer in places like this, because you have to remove that hologram by hooks or crooks. So the more attached you are to a belief system, the more you will see yourself suffering. You will imagine yourself to suffer. The more detached, aloof you are to all the things here, to all the existence here, and to all the systems in here, the easier you will go, okay, to your monada or your planet of experience and of expression. I would say expression. If you have to come to us, you will be on us, but as a star, as a light, offering help around, you will be among other beings invisible on the fourth, fifth dimension. Not necessarily in other planets, but on Earth itself, okay, but in an invisible form. So that's is it. Later I will talk about other things about this same matter, but other, how I will explain how people who follow dogmas and religions lives in a hologram filled with negativity and fears.